All right, so review equations. All right, so remember that we always look for distributive property first. We have steps. In short, we're going to write short steps. We always do distributive property first if we have it. If we don't have distributive property, we just skip that step. Then we combine like terms on each side of the equation. And we're just going to abbreviate so we can remember it, study it. You have these somewhere, but I do want you to rewrite these down. Then you're going to move variables to the same side. Move variables to same side. And I'm going to pause after I do write this last step down so you can catch up. The fourth step is to isolate the variable. And guys, to isolate the variable, you use inverse operations. And don't forget, your basic operations are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Okay, and I'm going to pause it here. Okay, so now we want to do some examples of solving equations using our steps. Remember, we are not going to use all of these steps for all of the problems because they're different. They're all different. So if we don't see distributive property, then we skip that step. If we don't have like terms that we're combining, then we skip that step. If we don't have variables on both sides, then you skip that step. Okay? All right, so let's go with the first one, number 1. Number 1 is 26 is equal to 8 plus v. All right, number 1 is 26 equals 8 plus v. Okay, all right, so here, in order to solve for v or get v by itself, you have to get rid of this 8. The sign that's in front of the 8, if you don't see one, this is automatically a positive 8. Okay, the inverse of a positive or adding 8 is to subtract 8. So to get rid of this positive 8, you're going to subtract 8 on both sides. Questions about that? Okay, so now we have 26 minus 8. What is 26 minus 8? Come on, guys. What's 26 minus 8? 18. Okay, so we got 18 here. This is gone, and we're left with v. So v is equal to 18. Please make sure that you write that down. Number 2. Number 2 is 3 plus p is equal to 8. 3 plus p is equal to 8. To solve for p, to get p by itself, we have to move again the operation or the sign that's in front of this. You don't see a sign in front of the 3. So this is a positive 3. So in order to get rid of a positive 3, I have to subtract 3. So I subtract 3 on both sides. I always look at the operation or the sign in front of it to figure out which inverse operation to use. So to get rid of this positive 3, I subtract 3 on both sides. This is gone. 3 minus 3 is 3. So we're left with p. Bring down the equal sign. 8 minus 3 is 5. Number 3. A couple people, I guess, got kicked out of the meeting. Let me make sure they're in. Number 3. We have 15 plus b is equal to 23. I want to give you a minute to do that one on your own. Let's see what we got. Okay, here, in order to get b, In order to get B by itself, there's no sign in front of the 15. There's no um, minus or plus sign here, so it's automatically a positive 15. To get rid of a positive 15, we're going to subtract 15 from both sides. Okay. When we subtract 15 from both sides here, this is gone, and I'm left with B. Bring down my equal sign. Here, I decompose this number. This is 1, this is 13. What is 13 minus 5? 8. Very good. Okay, so here B is equal to 8. Okay. Number 4, let's suppose that I have a negative 15 plus n is equal to a negative 9. See if you can do that one. Okay, so here, in order to get n by itself, we have to get rid of this negative 15. To get rid of a negative 15, we add 15 to both sides. When you add 15 to both sides, a negative 15 plus 15 gives me 0, and I'm left with n. Bring down my equal sign. A negative 9 plus 15, what does that give me as my answer? Anybody know? Okay, 6. All right, let's move on to the next one. Number 5. Okay, we have 14b is equal to a negative 56. 14b is equal to a negative 56. All right, so let's see if we can solve for b. In order to get b by itself, the operation that's between 14 and b is multiplication. The inverse of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide both sides by 14 to get rid of the 14. 14 goes into 14 one time, okay, or just b. So we got 1b or just b, because 1 times b is b. Bring down your equal sign. Then we got negative 56 divided by 14. What's negative 56 divided by 14? Negative 4. All right, number 6. Number 6, you try this one. 10n is equal to 40. Try that one. Okay, so here, the operation that's between the 10 and the n is multiplication. The inverse or opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide both sides by 10. When we divide both sides by 10, 10 divided by 10 here is 1, or 10 goes into 10 one time, so that gives me n, 1n, or just n, because 1 times n is just n. What is 40 divided by 10? 40 divided by 10 is 4. All right. Please take a picture of this page if you're just coming in. Lillian, if you're just coming in, please make sure that you take a picture of this page. Let me make sure I change this. So I think I kind of got 8 plus down, but sometimes I do forget. Okay, you're welcome. Raise your hand if you are still taking your picture. All right, so this is going to be number 7. This is number 7. We have a negative 6 is equal to b divided by 18. Okay, so in this problem here, this is division. So the opposite of division is multiplication. So in order to get b by itself, in order to get rid of this 18, we got to multiply both sides by 18. Excuse me. Sorry, y'all. We multiply both sides by 18. What is 18 times a negative 6? negative 108. All right, bring down the equal sign here. 18 to when you multiply this, if you was to put a 1 under this and multiply straight across, you get 18 on the top, 18 on the bottom. 18 divided by 18 gives me 1, so I'm left with this b. So b is equal to a negative 108. Also, guys, in your calculator, I heard some people say some wrong answers, so let me clear it up. If I'm using my calculator and I'm multiplying, I have 18 times a negative, this is a negative here, a negative 6, that gives me 108, okay? All right, please make sure that you mute yourself because I'm still hearing some background noise. So please make sure that you're muted, okay? Thank you very much. Okay. All right, I see some right answers in the chat. All right, so see what we got here. All right, in order to get v by itself, we got to get rid of this 8. This is division. The opposite of division is multiplication. So you're going to multiply by 8 on both sides to get rid of the 8. Here, if I was to multiply straight across, this being a 1 on the bottom of the 8, 8, the 8 divided by 8 is going to give me 1. 8 goes in 8 one time. So this is 1v. The 8's cancel out here. So you're left with v. Bring down the equal sign. Then you have 2 times 8. What's 2 times 8? Okay, very good. It's 16. Okay. Number 9. See if you can do this one. We have m divided by 4 is equal to a negative 13. See if you can do this one on your own. Here we go. Here again, this is division. In order to get m by itself, to find an answer for m, the opposite of division is multiplication. So we have to multiply by 4 on both sides. We multiply by 4 on both sides. This cancels out, and I'm left with just the m. Bring down my equal sign. What is negative 13 times 4? Negative 52. All right, number 10. We have, let's try this one. We have negative 5. Broke my pencil lid. Negative 5 is equal to a divided by 18. See if you can do this one and write your answer in the chat. Okay, so here, in order to get a by itself, we got to get rid of this 18. The operation here is division. The opposite of division is multiplication. So you're going to multiply both sides by 18. So you're going to multiply this negative 5 times 18. What is 18 times a negative 5? So yeah, negative 90 is equal to, on this side, the 18 cancels out, and I'm left with a. So the answer is negative 90 is equal to a, or a is equal to negative 90. 11. 11, let's suppose that we have 2 over 3x is equal to 6. Okay, so here, this fraction is being multiplied times the x. This is multiplication here. The opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to, let me slide this over a little bit. I'm going to multiply. When I divide fractions, that's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. The reciprocal, not forget, the reciprocal of a fraction is when the numerator becomes the denominator and the denominator becomes the numerator. So if I have x over y, the reciprocal is y over x. So example of that would be, if I have 5 over 6, my reciprocal is going to be 6 over 5. If I have 8 over 2, or let's do 3 because I can reduce that. 8 over 3, my reciprocal would be 3 over 8. So all reciprocal means is that the numerator and the denominator switches. So the reciprocal of 2 over 3 is 3 over 2. Okay, please make sure that you mute. Okay, make sure you mute. All right, so now when I multiply by the reciprocal on both sides, here this will give me 6 over 6, because 3 times 2 is 6, so this is 6 over 6 here, x. On this side, put a 1 under this, and I multiply straight across here. 6 times 3 is 18. 1 times 2 is 2. So now we have 6 divided by 6, or 6 goes into 6 one time. So that's 1x. Bring down the equal sign. 18 divided by 2 is 9. Okay, try this problem and see if you can do it on your own. All right, let's look at it. Here, in order to get b by itself, we got to get rid of the 3 over 4. We're going to do the same thing we did up here. To get rid of the 3 over 4, this is multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division. When you divide fractions, you multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, you multiply by the reciprocal. That means that you're going to flip the numerator and the denominator. So you're going to multiply both sides by 4 over 3. So when you multiply this side by 4 over 3, this gives you 12 on the top, 12 on the bottom, b. Bring down the equal. I'm going to multiply here. Okay. If I multiply straight across here, let's look at this. We got 12 times 4. Some of us know 12 times 4. Type it in if you don't know. 48. So we put 48 here. And then we got 1 times 3. We put 3 here. We divide. 12 divided by 12 gives me 1b. So I can just put b. And then we got 48 divided by 3. And some of us know that's going to be 16. Any questions? Is there anyone that's lost? All right.